The tough reality of affordable VR. I'm Tonya Hall, and joining me is Ross Rubin, principal analyst at Reticle Research and ZDNet contributor. Welcome, Ross.
Oh, hi, Tanya. It's great to be here.
Thanks for joining us. Give us a brief summary of your background, if you will.
Sure. So I've been an industry analyst following consumer technology since the late 90s. I started research services at Jupiter Research when the consumer internet was just becoming a thing. And I tracked the rise of smartphones and other devices we use a lot today at the NPD Group for about 8 years before starting my own firm.
You wrote an article for ZDNet on the tough reality of affordable VR.
Mm.
Define affordable, then tell us the tough part.
Sure. So one of the advantages that virtual reality has over, say, augmented reality is that we have seen a lot of these lower end headsets under $200, sometimes even under $100, that have been launched with the idea of making virtual reality very accessible. And they have resulted in a little bit of a boom in terms of content, but it's been tough to keep the excitement up in the market.
How would you characterize the state of the consumer VR market in the mid 2020s as we are where we are right now?
I mean, it's still very focused on gaming. One of the most popular offerings has been the PlayStation VR system, which of course is connected and tied to that console. We saw Facebook have some success and generate some excitement with the Oculus Go, which was their entry-level headset that was available for about $200. But Facebook recently said that it was going to discontinue that model because consumers wanted a richer experience that involves 6 degrees of freedom, more flexibility in terms of how you can move around the environment. And that's only really delivered by their more expensive products, including the Oculus Quest.
Where do you think they're getting this feedback that consumers actually want a less expensive VR option? Is this based on sales, or what do you attribute that to?
Well, I think some of it is consumer feedback, some of it is developer feedback, because the nature of the installed base is very small right now. Developers have to think carefully about which platforms they want to target. And so this idea of a VR headset that offers this enhanced flexibility when it comes to moving around is part of that is coming from the developers that say, we want to be able to assume a certain baseline level of functionality. Now, there are many discussions about how Facebook is probably going to introduce a new headset this year, which will probably be a more advanced headset and offer new capabilities. And if that's the case, they may have an opportunity to make the Oculus Quest a more affordable option and perhaps bring it down closer to that $200, $250 price point that generated a lot of excitement for the Oculus Go.
How about Moore's law as applied to VR? Are there any technological breakthroughs on the horizon that might bring us a step up in performance or for mass market price?
Well, absolutely. A lot of the components that we see inside of these headsets are actually very similar components that we see inside smartphones. So, for example, Qualcomm announced a new version of its VR processing chip late last year. They have been in a number of VR and augmented reality headsets, and I think it's a good bet that whatever new headset that Facebook or Oculus comes out with later this year, it's probably going to use that more advanced chip. And some of the advantages that it offers, for example, is the ability, one of the advantages it offers is the ability to use multiple cameras, more cameras than have been possible in the past, which allows for things like more accurate head tracking, more accurate eye tracking, the ability to mix virtual and actual reality by having some of the cameras point outward. So we're seeing this convergence between VR and AR. Sometimes it's called mixed reality. The broader category is sometimes called extended reality. But consumers are definitely starting to get more of a taste of this through their smartphones. And over time, we're going to see those headsets come down in price to deliver more of that experience on an untethered basis.
How might 5G change the VR landscape?
So you might guess, particularly with Qualcomm being active in this market, 5G is something that they're very excited about. When you look at some of the plans that the carriers are thinking about for 5G, VR and particularly augmented reality really play as perhaps the most attractive consumer functionality that will drive new usage. The idea that you want very low latency in order to make these worlds seem realistic. You want them to be able to support massive numbers of participants in the case of a group VR or augmented reality game or adventure. And so, for example, this was one of the goals that Magic Leap was trying to achieve with its augmented reality headset. But it's clearly a lot of work to bring together the hardware, the software, the content. And so they have had to refocus on the enterprise market, where we have actually seen a lot of activity in terms of VR as well. But a lot of those headsets are in the thousands of dollars and are really intended for applications like designing automobiles or designing jets, where super high resolution is far more important than it is in, say, the games market.
Ross Rubin, principal analyst at Reticle Research and ZDNet contributor. If somebody wants to connect with you, Ross, maybe they want to find out more about this and your work, how can they do that?
Sure. You can find me on Twitter at Ross Rubin, and our website is reticleresearch.com.
Thanks again, Ross. And find more of my interviews right here or at tonyahall.net. Thanks for watching.